All right, we are continuing our grading Dynasty trades.
That's right.
Video series, if you will. Video series. It sounds like something from Blockbuster or something. Anyway, all right, we got 2 trades to bring to you today. These are both trades that were submitted over on our Discord. If you want to join Discord, link in the description. Great community there where you can kind of bounce ideas off of each other. So shout out to Sean from New Zealand, bro.
You from New Zealand, bro?
He submitted this trade. You can see on your screen now. So Team A gets Deshaun Watson, Dalton Schultz, Jacoby Myers, and then the 207, 208, 307, and 308 in this year's rookie draft. Team B gets Jared Goff, Jonnu Smith, and A.J. Brown. I think the specific reason that we wanted to highlight this trade is because I think it shows how easy it really is to trade for Deshaun Watson at this point. I mean, I have made a couple trades for Deshaun Watson in different leagues. Yeah. And I think right now, I don't want to speak for you, but I really, really view him as a buy low right now, Deshaun Watson. I think you can get him for a relatively respective and fair price. So let's talk about this trade. Who won? For me, I think Team A won. I've kind of already alluded to that.
Yes.
In a super flex league, the most valuable position, in my opinion, is the quarterback position. So again, I do see this as an example of a buy low for Deshaun Watson. Let's be honest, this trade's really only about 2 people, Badaki. It's about Deshaun Watson and A.J. Brown. Yeah. Everyone else are just pieces. They're just
throwing
pieces in the trade. So really, I mean, I'll say Schultz. The fact that you were able to, Team A was able to move off of Jonnu and get Schultz, I think that's maybe an undervalued part of this trade.
Agreed.
But when you actually look at it, it's like it's Deshaun and AJ. And to be fair, there's a ton of risk with Deshaun Watson. There's no guarantee that he plays again in the NFL. But if he does, let's just remind everyone what he will be. He is instant top 5 to 7 status when he returns. In 2020 was a quarterback 5. In 2019, quarterback 5. In 2018, quarterback 4. He is just 26 years old. And honestly, the more I think about it, I think you're right. When we've been on live streams, you're like, I think he'll go in the first 7, 8, 9 picks. And I kind of agree with that now that I think about it. If he is back, that's where he'll go.
Yeah.
And for me, this is a good buy low situation for Team A. I think they got the better side of the deal. But where do you kind of sit on this?
No, I completely agree. You know, and you hit the nail on the head. Everything that matters in this draft or in this trade is Deshaun Watson and A.J. Brown. You know, and maybe since you already hinted on that, maybe I should hint on the value that you actually got in these, you know, second and third round. I think this is a good, you know, second and third round draft class. Okay, the 207, who can you get around there? Trey McBride, a Sky Moore, Jerome Ford, Jahan Dodson could potentially fall that as low as that. It just really depends on your league. Then the 307, you know, high upside guys. Khalil Shakir was the last guy that went at the 307 in our past rookie mock draft. And I think that's fantastic, getting a Khalil Shakir, you know, a Calvin Austin, a Damian Pierce. You can get a Carson Strong if you want to get an extra quarterback there. So it's really dependent on how your rookie mock drafts go, and if these guys, and if you hit on some of these guys, because 4 picks in 2 in the second, 2 in the third, I don't think you should take that for granted, because that is huge in this
Even if
year.
you get one flex from that.
Exactly.
I mean, that makes a massive difference in this trade. And we're talking about a guy who Jonnu Smith, who has proven himself to not be a dynasty asset.
Exactly.
A guy in Jared Goff, who has proven himself not to be a future starting quarterback in the NFL, right? Whereas on the other side, there are pieces that there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of optimism. And to be clear, like A.J. Brown, you don't disvalue A.J. Brown here. It's just you need to realize the value of Deshaun Watson. A.J. is my wide receiver 3 in Dynasty, okay? Yeah. So I understand it, but at the same time, like, I think we are selling on Deshaun Watson a little bit too low there.
I agree.
If Deshaun comes back, it's a steal. Now, if Deshaun doesn't come back, obviously, like, you can make a justification for Team B here winning the trade, but there's no guarantee that Deshaun doesn't come back. There's no guarantee that he does come back.
And that's the risk.
You know,
that's a huge risk, and that's the price you pay when you're gambling with somebody's future. You know, you're trying to hope that these guys come back, and if he does play, then you are the biggest winner. But you can also be the biggest loser at the exact same time. So brace yourself.
Let's give grades. Let's give some grades here. For me, Team A, I gave them a B+ in this deal. Team B, I gave them a C+. I just don't think they got proper value. And at this point, I think Watson's a better hold than he is a sell.
Okay, for me, Team A, I gave him a C, and Team B is a C. Team A, I gave him an A. Team B,
Okay.
I gave them a C minus. AJ Brown is a good asset, but Jared Goff and John Smith are just throwaway pieces. I'm not comfortable starting them week in and week out. Where I'm comfortable starting a Jacoby Myers and a Dalton Schultz week in and week out. So I think that's how I kind of viewed it with the draft picks, obviously.
All right, let's look at the second trade. Shout out to Certified, who submitted this trade in our Discord. Now, the last time we brought a trade about Jonathan Taylor, people were not happy. They were not happy that we were telling people it's okay to sell Jonathan Taylor if you get this kind of value. So that's why I wanted to bring another trade.
Okay.
With Jonathan Taylor's name.
Okay.
Because for me, I do think this is a win-win. I think this is a win-win for both sides. And if I was to choose a side, I would choose the J.K. Dobbins side. I genuinely would. You could see Team A gets J.K. Dobbins, the 104, and a 2023 first. Team B gets Jonathan Taylor. I see it even. I prefer Team A. Okay. Let me just explain why. Okay. Number one, I view J.K. Dobbins probably differently to the way other people view him. All right. He's my running back 7. I genuinely believe that the community as a whole is undervaluing Dobbins. And I think it's because of this whole split backfield narrative that has started to develop. And when you consider the identity of this team, it's actually quite silly to be worried about the opportunities for J.K. Dobbins. This is a team that is more run focused than any team in the past 4 years. Okay. If you look at 2018, 2019, and 2020, the Ravens had the most rushing attempts in all those years. Right? The most rushing attempts per game.
Correct.
In 2021, they lost literally all their running backs and they still had the 3rd most rushing attempts per game. So to me, I feel like people are massively undervaluing JK because they're worried that Gus Edwards might have a 3rd down role. I'm like, are we really worried about J.K. Dobbins, someone they drafted in the 2nd round, being a part of a team that rushes the ball more than any other team?
Right.
That's where I stand on it. And in 2020, if you look at weeks 8 to 17, we're talking about J.K. Dobbins as a running back 11. Despite still being transitioned into the offense, he had 6 yards per attempt there, 7 touchdowns in that span. So for me, J.K., yeah, he's not Jonathan Taylor, but then you also get 2 firsts and, the 2023 draft. If that's top 5, that's a gold mine pick right there.
No doubt about it.
Where do you kind of sit on this trade?
I completely agree. I'm with the J.K. Dobbins side. As much as you want to have Jonathan Taylor in your team, he's the 101 in the running back perspective. If you are somebody that's saying you should go with the Jonathan Taylor side, let me tell you this.
I don't think that's the wrong answer.
I don't think that's the wrong answer, and that's the thing. I don't think
you get the best player. You get the best player,
but do you hold on to JT for a year or 2, maybe 3? Does he not finish RB1 anymore? Maybe he finishes in the top 5. You still can get the same picks that he got just here, depending on his age, what the team is looking like potentially. So I think there's some kind of a risk there because if he does finish in the top 5 again or 1 next year, the year before, you can still get the same exact value like 2 years back to back. So anyways, that's just a thought process for anyone out there. But I do believe in J.K. Dobbins. I like the 2 first-round picks. The value that you can get there is tremendous. You can get a quarterback, a wide receiver, a running back, depending on where you are going. And at
the 104?
What the team needs. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I mean, you can go Malik, Kenneth Walker, Garrett Wilson, Drake London. Take your pick there.
Exactly. Go anywhere. In the 2023, I'm assuming you have 2 2023 nows.
Yeah.
Because if you traded away your original one, then that's okay. But you got a second one, and if you do have 2, that's fantastic. So I mean, there's no doubt about it. I think
maybe it's more like I almost view it as like the Moneyball effect, right? Do I want to have one player who is one of the best players in the league, or do I want to tier down? Because to me, that would be 2 tiers down, but still a top 7 running back for me, and still build like elite pieces, on my roster in other areas. So for me, I guess like as a whole, I would prefer the picks and JK because of how I view JK and what I know I can get with those picks. But I understand those who are saying Jonathan Taylor is the answer because yes, he is the best player in here. To me, it's a win-win. I see this as a win-win, right?
Yeah.
Team A gets a haul. They can continue to build a more complete roster. Team B gets the best non-quarterback player in Dynasty. So I actually view this as a win-win. I give Team A an A, Team B an A minus. The only reason I gave them a minus is because I hate losing draft capital. I mean, this feels good now, but if you don't win, like this feels like a win now move to me. Okay. And if you don't win in the next couple of years, you weren't able to build in 2022 draft.
Right.
You weren't able to build in the 23 draft. Do you know what I mean? So I just don't like losing capital. It's much more important than people realize. I mean, when people first start playing Dynasty, I feel like they throw around first round picks like candy. Like, here.
Yeah. You want a first round pick that I probably don't really care about the player. And I can have this player right now.
These are crucial ways to build your team, to continue to bring an influx of young talent. So what did you grade the trade?
For me, Team A is A plus, and Team B is a B plus. So I think both, like you said, it's a kind of a win-win. You get Jonathan Taylor, the best player on the team, and then 2 first-round picks and J.K. Dobbins. Both teams are winning. Okay. Yeah. Both teams are winning. The reason why B plus is because, like you said, the draft capital on Team B. So that's okay. Jonathan Taylor is still the guy.
Let's say Jonathan Taylor comes out next year and he's the running back 3. Right?
You can still get the exact
Joe
same
Mixon
value.
Here. Well, I would argue that you wouldn't be able to sell him for the same value.
Okay. Right? I would argue you could.
Well, he'll be a year older. He's not going to be old by any means, right? But he will be 1 year older. Mm-hmm. He won't have been the RB1, right? Let's say if someone else goes out and finish RB1, where does he go in startups at that point? Right. Like the value, the hype, the name will have come down a little bit to earth. And I don't know that you get this capital this time next year. Okay. So I could be wrong. If he comes out RB1 again, probably. But RB1, I think this is a good example of like, you don't want to move Jonathan Taylor. You never want to move JT. But if it's this much value, I'm okay to do it. Yep. And I think maybe everyone talks about how good the 23 picks are, but like, are we not knowing enough about that class to move that pick? Because there's some really, really good talents.
Exactly.
And every pick in the 23 draft looks to be very, very valuable. So all the firsts. Let us know if you agree or disagree. I know people are going to disagree. There are going to be people saying Jonathan Taylor. I'm just waiting for the comment. It's the JT side and it's not even close. That's people's favorite thing to say. It's this and it's not even close.
All love anyway, though. That's funny.
Yeah, it's all love regardless. All right, let us know down below. Comment.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.